Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Loveness right here on Loveness Paradise TV. And today we've got an amazing guest. He is an author. He writes science fiction novels. So I'm going to introduce Efrain Palermo here for you guys. And he's going to introduce himself and tell you exactly who he is, what he's made of. All I know really is that I've been reading his book, and it's an amazing, amazing book called Alien Cartel. So Efrain, can you just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where you come from, and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I was born in Brooklyn, New York City. I have to say the year, 1954. I know that kind of makes me old, right? I just turned 60.
Oh, I thought you were 42.
I know. That's right, 42. Well, yeah, I was born in New York City, and in Brooklyn, I lived in the South Bronx, and all the boroughs of New York City, and then eventually came out to the West Coast, and really liked it out here, Portland, Oregon.
I love it too here.
Yeah, it's really nice. So, yeah, I've been here for about 30 years, on and off. So I guess I'm
nice.
a Polandian.
Keep it weird.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, and so you said you born from Puerto Rican fam?
Yeah, my family's from Puerto Rico. And I lived there when I was in high school age. I was born in New York City, but I lived in Puerto Rico for a little bit.
Wow, amazing. Anyway, we're really here today so you can tell us more about Alien Cartel, this amazing book that's really already, most readers that I'm hearing talking about this thing, they're saying this book is good. I mean, because I love it too, and it's going to be kept in my library actually forever, you know.
Oh, good.
So, you know, it's an honor to know you and to have you here today. You know, we want to see that we can share with the world about exactly who you are, because you are made of lots of things. I can't even explain you. You know, I see what in one of my chapters, what I call colors of beauty, and you belong there. Oh. Like, you know, yeah, on my colors of beauty, there is everything about you. You write, you do art, you do martial arts, you do the bridges, Da Vinci bridges, all kind of stuff, and you even investigated the something with in NASA, in the NASA projects, you know, something about Mars. And you're gonna go deep into this as we go on. So for right now, maybe let me just ask you about your writing.
Okay.
So when and why did you begin to write?
Well, I wrote Alien Cartel about a year and a half ago. It's my first novel. And before that, I haven't really written anything. I mean, I've written poetry and some papers that I wrote.
Yeah.
But as an actual novel was only like a year and a half ago.
Wow.
But I actually remembered, though, that when I was in high school, I wanted to be a writer, right? So I had like a fork in the road in terms of my creative path that I was going to take, and I went along the path of visual arts, like oil painting, you know, sculpture, because I was good at that as well.
Is that what you did most of the your younger life to younger adult life until you got to start writing?
Yeah, and I wanted to be an artist, and then I became a starving artist.
We all started there. We're still starving somehow, sometimes.
I'm still starving.
No, not anymore.
No.
Not anymore.
Hopefully
I mean, you've passed that. I mean, when I met you, I just saw that this is no longer a starving artist because your art is selling itself. Your book is selling itself as we speak right now. So, you know, those of you who really wants to see what I'm talking about and hear this beauty in this writing, you know, just follow the link on the screen and keep in touch with this guy. I think he has it on Amazon, he has it on audiobooks, he has it almost everywhere because it's needed. Everybody wants it. In my country, they want it in my language too. And I realized you're going to be changing into different languages, and people can't wait. They're talking right now.
Oh, good. Yeah. So Alien Cartel, it was kind of, you know, as a writer, everyone has like something that starts it, you know, the seed.
Yes.
And it's not always good. You know, it's just something that happens in your life, you know what I'm saying?
What was your seed?
Well, it was going through just a rough time in my life. You know, I broke up with this girlfriend I was for a long time, and I was broke, and had all these bills. You know, it's like all this thing was coming in, and the life was like caving in. But out of that that mud, you know, this little diamond of a thought came to me. And it was this story. And I was watching a show on the Discovery Channel about cocaine submarines that the cartel uses in the jungles of Colombia. So there was these 2 DEA agents tracking down this cocaine submarine. They're really kind of makeshift kind of thing, you know, but it's still pretty sophisticated. But they do go underwater and smuggle cocaine across.
Submarine kind of thing? Or?
Yeah, so it actually goes underneath. So as I was watching that, this idea came to me about what would happen if an alien came in contact with a drug cartel. You know, because a lot of times aliens, you know, that's like they land at like a Roswell or, you know, some Air Force base or something like that, or they're abducting people and they don't know where they come from. But what would happen if a group like that, right, made a partnership with aliens?
That's kind of awesome thing. I mean, I'm not going to say it sounds like, because I already know it is an amazing thing that you put together, just bringing those things together right there. So to me, it looks like a real strong rope that's been intertwined together to take the aliens and bring them in the drug compound. I mean, it's just an amazing, amazing thinking up there. Your brains are amazing. So we want to find out what else you can tell us more about this thing. When did you really first consider yourself a writer, if I may ask?
Well, I consider myself a writer because I wrote a draft. Well, first, when I had that idea, it was like a complete thought. I mean, the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, the end of the story. I mean, within a few seconds, the whole thing just went...
Came together?
Yeah.
Nice.
But it took me probably about 6 weeks to write out like a rough draft.
Yeah, you put the pillars together already.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it was I kind of did like a rough draft when I was showing it to people. And then they would explain to me what they read. They would say, oh, yeah, you know, that part you was writing about, you know, it's like this happened, that happened. They were gone for like 10, 15 minutes. And I realized that I only written like a sentence or two. But they were describing something and a lot more. In other words, it was like the imagery they were getting from my words was, you know, and some people are getting like emotionally affected by what I wrote. They feel sad or happy or upset or scared, you know.
Yes, you do take us, you take readers with you into all your valleys of this exploration. You make us explore your world the way you portrayed it in there. I mean, it's amazing. And you're right, you're saying it was like a sentence, but you hear them telling a big story. Right. Because when I first read your book, I was like, whoa. This is huge, you know, but and then you look at the book, it's so condensed the way you write, which brings me to a question of, I guess, your writing style. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? What inspired this kind of writing?
Well, I guess something I used to write a lot would be like poetry. And what that is poetry is condensed thought, you know, but you do it in such a way that in just a few lines you can get a lot of imagery, you know, feelings, because that's what poetry is. Yes. So that's kind of, I would say that'd be my style of writing. In other words, I'm adding imagery by the cadence of my words and the kind of words I use and the way I describe things. You know, I'm involving the reader, but I'm not laying it all out in black and white type of thing. Yes. You know, so some of my stuff might be a little bit too condensed, right? Because some people go, what was that about? You know, but if you read over it and kind of expand it, add water to it, you know, so it expands. Then it grows. But so in my next book that I'm writing, I'm actually expanding my thoughts better.
Nice.
You know, so the first one was like, bam, you know, I just kind of just threw it in there, right?
Wow.
So now I'm just kind of like,
taking it easy.
Take it a little bit easy on the reader, you know, so then I don't feel like, but even then it still penetrates, you know.
Yeah, I think what you did with Alien Cartel is that, way you kind of, God has one thing. We can't stop reading that thing. You want to read, and it's like, oh man, it's gone. Shit, where can I get the other one? So that's what you did. You really were trying to grab us, grab our hearts, grab us by whatever the best part that you can grab, and you brought us in there. So now we are stuck in you, and all we're waiting is for you to dish some more. So when do you think the next one is coming, and what is it called?
Yeah, the next book is Tides of Retribution.
Tides of Retribution.
Right. Yeah, and it has the same characters. Now, the characters in my book actually live for many thousands of years. In other words, there's past lives and future lives. And so the sequel is based 1,200 years in the future with the same characters, but living in that time. You know, so it kind of goes back and forth like that.
And another thing that I just found, like, I mean, like I said, you really bring us into your world and we feel like we're living it, and there is these other places that you built, these planets and the way they look, some of them are so horrible and so scary. I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I can live in here. Just reading that part, I feel like, okay, at least sounds like, well, after I'm done reading, I'm like, okay, at least I didn't live here. I didn't get to be here for too long. You don't keep us there for long. Right. But then you have these other planets where it's like, oh my God, sometimes you take us out so quick. I'm like, no, I still wanted to be in this planet. Come on, why are you moving me out? So, yeah, there's something about your writing. It's hard to explain, but it's an amazing. I've been reading books. I mean, I'm 43 now, so but and I've never thought I will read and love something about aliens ever in my life, or drug cartels, stuff like that. But your story, the way you brought it in here, it's not about somebody who likes drugs, who's gonna be loving this book, somebody who's addicted to drugs, or somebody who's really just more about aliens. It's just about everyday life. Is there something you can explain about that?
Yeah, I mean, for example, like my mother was reading this book and she was concerned that I was involved with cartels and if I was a gun runner, am I a drug mule, and he says, my family name is Papo. So you say, Papo, are you involved with drugs or anything? I said, no, I just wrote a book. It's a story, right? It's like an actor, saying, like somebody thinks he's the part that he's playing.
Yes.
But actually what this is what I think about. Or in other words, it's in my imagination. And when I write, to me it's real. It's a reality for me.
Yes. And I mean, we can feel your reality because, maybe because we are all energy, one energy out there. I mean, we just don't know. We are those pieces that, you have to bring them together by them attracting to each other. Energy is coming back together. But what I guess I'm trying to say is that the way I lost it. It's kind of like, I feel like I write kind of like a stream of consciousness kind of thing. Yes,
I'm tapping into something in myself that I'm not even that aware of, but I'm also tapping into something in you as a reader that you're not quite aware of, but I'm making us both aware of it, So it's kind of like it's a journey, for myself and the reader.
Yes.
And when I wrote this book, halfway through Alien Cartel, because the next book came to mind. Oh, this is going to be a two-book series.
Yeah, because we're already leaving this destination, so your next destination starts coming up.
Yeah, it came up.
Yes.
So then I finished this, and I started writing Times of Retribution. Then I read, oh, wait a minute, that's another one. It's like a trilogy, Then as I was penciling out the outline for my trilogy, I realized, wait, that's a fourth book. So it's like this thing, it's like a tidal wave, a tsunami, It's like you think, oh, it's okay to be out, the water retreats, but then it comes back.
Are you sure it's 4? I think there is 5 already.
No, then it's 5, right. Then it's a 5th one. So, if I could write 24 hours a day, I would.
I know.
I mean,
wow.
It's just,
I think you will because we will be hungry. We will be hungry for your work. So after this book already, we want the next one. So when that one comes, we'll be wanting you'll be busy. You'll get busy. I know that.
Yeah.
So.
But science fiction, like good science fiction, like in the old days, like Heinlein and Asimov, and those old time guys. A lot of the science fiction actually was a moral tale. It told the story. The science was just there, razzle dazzle, kind of making the future.
Yeah.
But really, it's just a construct to make a statement about society and people. And, so I feel like I'm doing that, making a statement about spirituality, spiritual stuff and humanity. And,
yes. I feel that's why I say your books belong in because I don't just keep a book, and I keep a good book, and you kind of get, the spiritual part of your writing is what attracted me to this, and that's why we have you here today, because you're tapping into realities that the world then needs to see, that, there are some good writers there who can put things in a different way. So do you really think you're really kind of like channeling when you write? Or you kind of once mentioned something like that.
Well, the characters, I really feel like they're real people. So channeling is definitely the only way I can describe it. Like, for example, I have a scene in the book where it's the guy's in a ship, and he's going to rescue a comrade, you know, and the comrade in the beginning was this guy, is an alien. He's rushing over to get him, and then something came to me, what if that was a female alien instead of a male alien?
Yes.
And as soon as I did that, I mean, it just kind of took over. She took over the story. She
remember.
She slapped me and said, okay, put me in there.
That's Sija.
Yeah, Sija.
Yeah, that's
So
my
once
favorite
I
character.
wrote her in, it was like, and by putting, then it changed the whole flavor of the story after that.
I mean, she's an amazing, strong character in there. I mean, you know, to me, it resonates with me because I believe in strength, especially on females, you know, women's strength. And when you brought that character, then kind of that strength she put in there, I was like, oh man, besides, you know, her own kind of private life is also a good part right there, but the strength in her, I just loved that character. Oh, I love most of your characters, and you know, some places here, the alien being tortured by. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that or no?
Yeah, well, you have to buy the book.
Yeah. I mean, just give us a little.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the whole thing is set up in a Colombian jungle, right?
Yes.
And you shoot down an alien, but it's really just a cover for what's really going on.
Yes.
You see, and it's something that's been going on for 10,000 years. So then there's a little bit of back history. It's kind of like Ancient Aliens kind of thing, you know, it goes back like, with the aliens involved with building pyramids, you know, or, you know, this kind of thing. So it kind of, it's my take on it, you know, it's what the story is. But what I realized, what the story is, like the 4 books, the whole series, is a story of redemption. Because the character, Raul Cojones Melendez, right, the bad guy, actually turns out to be a good guy eventually, right?
Oh, now I am loving it even more.
Yeah, but what he has to go through to make that happen.
Yes.
Is the story of the other books.
So these books are his lifetime, actually. He's like, okay.
Yeah, and it goes into the different aspects. And to me, writing is like a fractal. You know, like the closer you look, the more detail it is, and the more detail, and then it can go off in different angles and be an offshoot, it'll be different, even though it came from the same source.
Yes.
So my stories are like that. It's like a fractal expression, you know, of something that I'm thinking about, and it just keeps growing. It's like, to me, there's like no stop to it.
Wonderful. Wow. You are colorful. I say to people, I mean, because when I see creativity and, you know, people creating, using their own beings, or, you know, I mean, from everything that you do, the artwork, you can see your writing, also the beauty there, or just looking at every product that you put up there. If you see your art and you look at the book, you read the book, and then you look at these other things that you do with your hands, you know, all kind of stuff, and you just see the colors, and these colors sometimes, I call them colors of beauty, and I call them like colors that you can't even really define. They're more than a rainbow. You are one of those. So, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, anything you want to say, or should I check for a question?
No, well, I can. One of the things that when I was going to write a science fiction book like 10 years ago.
Yes.
Right, and I got like 1 page, and that was as far as I got. Right, but at that time I was doing a bunch of Mars research. It was independent research, and I was working at that time on the stains of Mars. And what these are, they're very dark streaks on the surface of Mars. And when I first saw those, I was kind of, oh, that's cool. But then I looked at what NASA's explanation of it was.
Yeah.
And they said it was just a dust streak, you know, just dust slide.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, it doesn't look like that. I mean, to me, it kind of bugged me. I have that kind of mind, really. It's like something bugs me like that. It's like, you know, I don't believe everything I read, right? So I didn't believe that at all. So I just started doing my own research and found a correlation between these dark stains and water on Mars.
Wonderful, and we're gonna see the slides of those Mars research you did, and another thing that I just you told me last week or 2 weeks ago, the NASA people actually called you.
Yeah, well, actually, it's the Discovery Channel. They have they have a show that's called NASA Unexplained Files. And so the producer of that, who's based in London, Corman, so they're going to do a segment. And what they want to talk about was a discovery I made on one of the moons of Mars, Phobos, of a monolith, like a big stone structure that stands out like 300 feet from the surface of Phobos. And I had done a lot of research, and I was in partnership with a NASA contractor who was part of the imaging. I mean, he knew how to figure out. We figured out how high it was by the length of the shadow, the time of day on phobos, where the sun was, where the camera was. So when you have a few of those, things extrapolated, it's like surveying. Once you have two things, you can figure the third. So we figured the height on this thing was like
how high was it?
300 feet.
Wow. Yeah. And which year was this you did this?
That's like around 2000, 2001. That's when I was in the middle of doing all this Mars research. And what happened was there was like a new camera, a new satellite going towards Mars. And on its way, it was close enough to Phobos. Hey, let's just take a little drive-by picture, So when they did that, I researched that image. I mean, you had to kind of look for it, but I found the structure, then did this whole research on it. So that's what that show is going to talk about.
Wonderful, and you're going to be on that channel, Discover Channel or whatever. We'll be looking forward to that, and maybe after some other things that you are doing there, we can bring you back so you can tell us more, because there is more we can talk about you. Like I said, you are colors of beauty. So one other thing I have for you, I mean, I have lots of them, right? So. So you came up with the title because of the thing you saw on the Discover Channel, and then what kind of message in your book that you really want your audience kind of to grasp?
I'd say the overall thing, you have to read the whole series to get it, right? Because the first one you're going, damn, aliens are like, But when you read the whole thing, it's like no matter how screwed up your life is or how screwed up you made it, that you can dig yourself out of that hole and come back out again. Yeah. So it's really, that's what I'm saying, it's a story of redemption. Because Raul has done a crime that was so bad that in the next book you realize he's in prison for 8,000 years. And so it makes you wonder, what the hell can you do that, be in jail for 8,000? I mean, no parole either. It wasn't like early release. It's like 8,000 years. So, but he redeems himself and comes out of that. And actually,
that is amazing, because then spiritually this is exactly what some of us are doing right now. I've just realized that in my past lives there's things that I wasn't able to do or to have been fighting maybe to get to in